Welcome back to the Nullified Take, where we've got the TNT takes for you on the Challenge All-Stars 3. It is the premiere week, and I thought I would drop another episode and talk a little bit about some predictions I have for this season. More so specifically, I'm going to go into who I think the top 5 contenders would be for this season, and we're going to look into why I think these are the challenges to look out for in this season. So, in no particular order here, the first person that I think this season is going to be a massive threat and is coming into the season with something to prove is no one else but Wes Bergman. I know that in the draft picks, if you haven't checked that out with myself, Chantel, and Drew doing our draft picks for the season, Drew did pick him in the first round as his first male pick for the season. And to be honest with you, if Drew didn't pick him, both myself and Chantel would have picked him as well. Wes is coming into this season. He's all over the trailer. He's saying that he is going to play the sloppiest game we've ever seen. And I think that we want to see a sloppy and messy game out there. And we want to see Wes go in full force. And the reason that I think Wes is going to be a threat this season is because he has had a couple of seasons now in a row where things have not gone his way. The last time that he has seen a final is actually in War of the Worlds 1, and he ended up second in that very brutal season, a season that Turbo ultimately won, but he has then lost in 3 eliminations in succession since then. So he's lost against people like Bear, Bananas, and Devin. Now, Bananas, obviously his ego would have taken a little bit of a bruising there, but you can understand that to a certain degree. But him losing to Bear and Devin, that has got to hurt for the person who holds the record for most elimination wins ever in the challenge history. And in total, his prize money that he's won on the show is only something like, I think, $330,000 to date. There's $500,000 at stake here. Now, he's a very successful businessman outside of the game, but I do think Wes is coming in for business, and he is coming in to really prove and cement that legacy that he has within the challenge. And I would be shocked if he does not do well this season with the connections that he has in the house. He's got a lot of people he's played the game with before. I think he's got a good chance. And also, let's not forget that he's got a 40% win record when he does make finals. So if he does get there, he's won twice out of 5 finals in the main season. Coming in at the second spot here for one of the players that I think we need to look out for this season is another man with something to prove as well, and that is going to be Jordan Wisely. Now, Jordan is a 3-time champ on coming into this season, so people know who he is. He has also won 3 out of 4 finals, giving him a 75% win record when it comes to finals. So he's going to be a massive threat for people. They're going to want to take care of him. They're going to want to vote him out before he gets to a final, because he is going to be difficult to beat. But here's the kicker: even if you throw Jordan into an elimination, he's won 7 times and have only lost twice in eliminations, making him pound for pound one of the best challengers, especially one of the best new school challengers that have ever played this game. So if he does go out and actually win this season, it's probably going to be very similar to War of the Worlds 2 that he won, where he was thrown in after week and he had to win his way through eliminations to get to the end and then ultimately win the prize. And with people like Wes on the season, who's not a big fan of him, think about Total Madness and the beef they had between the two of them. I do think that he may be in for a very rocky road in this season, but he's got something to prove. He's had a very public breakup with Tori, who was his fiance, who's now gone on to become a staple of the show. She's in all of the main seasons, and somehow Jordan, who's got the best record, or out of the two of them, and one of the best on the history of the game, he's not being invited back. Tori is coming back season after season, and a couple of seasons ago, he wanted to lay his game out for her and let her win the season. So I feel like he's going to come back with something to prove. Now, the third person here that I'm going to talk about is someone that I've always rated very highly. I've had her as my number 1 female pick for All-Stars 1, and she's also my number 1 female pick for All-Stars 3 here, and Chantel would probably say it's because I'm an ageist, because she's only 35 years old. It's Kellyanne Judd. She's never won a season before. She's had 1 final appearance out of 4 seasons in the main show. She played All-Stars 1. She didn't win that season, but she did come first for the women, and she actually drew with Janae, who won All-Stars 2, showing that she's an extremely capable person if she can get to a final. Now, She's also not someone that they're going to throw into eliminations easily, I think, because head to head, she is also very successful at winning her way out of elimination. So I think she is quite intimidating to a certain degree to a lot of the girls and the ladies out there. And I do think the men will want to keep her around, because if they're going to swap partners throughout the seasons, almost like a free agents type of scenario, and like they had in All Stars 1, and that's some of the rumors I've heard, that it might be something that is going to suit that free-flowing type of game with different partnerships being created for different times in the game. I think that is going to suit someone like Kellyanne, who's physically capable. People are going to want to keep her around because she's not going to be an anchor to their team when it comes to trying to win the money. She does have a past history with Wes, as Chantel pointed out on the podcast when we did our cast assessment. So that could either hurt or benefit her, depending on where she has left things with Wes, and if they've even spoken in recent years. I do think it's in both Wes and Kellyanne's benefit to let bygones be bygones and work together here in this season. So I do think we're going to see a big game from Kellyanne this season, and my money is actually on her to potentially win this season, because she's coming in with less of a threat than the next person that I'm going to be talking about. Now, the next person that I'm going to be talking about, and I did give Drew a very hard time for picking her as his first girl on this season, is going to be none other than the reigning champion, Janae Manion. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. Let me know in the comments. But Janae has to have one of the best stories from any challenger in recent seasons. She came onto the show before. She played in the main season for a couple of seasons, never really fully lived up to the expectations that people had on her as someone who won a show called Endurance as a kid, which was also like elimination types of challenge games, maybe challenge/survivor reality TV. She was a champion as a kid in that, and did so in a very dominant fashion. I think a lot of people thought she would translate to the challenge very easily and do well, but she had bad luck with some of her partners that she got in those early days, and because of that, I think she lost a lot of trust in her own ability to be this badass that she ended up being on All Stars. All Stars, she's found her mojo back. She's now won All Stars 2. She was the first female, like I said, she drew with Kellyanne in that season, and they were very unlucky that they didn't have a male and female winner, which in my opinion, there should always be a male and female winner for each season. But she's proven that she can win these shows now. She's going to have a few more competitors this season that's going to go up against her, like Kellyanne. But my biggest fear for Janae coming into the season is, how will she be able to stay out of an elimination? And can she win an elimination if she does get thrown down there? Because I don't think that this group of players out there is going to let her skate by for another season without seeing an elimination. If I was in there and if I was a woman, I would be targeting her, because I would think she is someone that could take the money from me. But for the guys, I think they're going to want to work with a reigning champion and someone that has proven that they're going to fight for the team in a finale. So that could also work in her favor. So after I gave Drew a very hard time for picking her so early, I did go and think about it, and I've got to admit that she is probably going to be a very good pick here for this season. Now, lastly but not least, the fifth player that I have got my eyes on coming into this season is going to be Darrell Taylor. Darrell, again, is one of my team. Surprise, surprise, I've got 3 out of the 5 is currently in my draft team for the season. But Darrell is a 4-time champion. He is someone that has come close now in 2 All-Star seasons, making it to the finale. I believe came in second twice, or was close to second twice in both of these seasons. His ego has to be bruising right now as one of the GOATs of this game. He hasn't been doing so well when it comes to All-Stars, and his whole aura about being undefeated in finales is completely shattered now. And, if he's got that competitive spirit still within him, which I think he has, he's going to go full throttle this season to try and get into the finale and finally win an All-Star season. And who wouldn't want to see one of the OGs, one of the pioneers of the challenge, go out there and actually finally get that win that he hasn't had for so many seasons? I definitely would like to see that. He's got 6 wins out and 3 losses in eliminations as well. So a lot of people won't want to throw him into eliminations. If you do count last season, I believe he's got an additional elimination win, 1-for-1 in All-Stars. So he's definitely someone that can play a great social, political game. And he's got connections, and there's going to be a certain amount of fear around him. The one thing I will say with both Jordan and Darrell, who's my 2 guys here, I don't think Wes wants to see either one of those two in the finals. I think Jordan doesn't care who he goes up against, and I don't think Darrell cares who he goes up against in a finale as much. But those are my 5 players that I think we should be looking out for this season. I think they're going to be the ones that potentially could go out there and win this season. Who's your 5 players? I'm really interested to know, who do you think has the best shot at winning this season? I know it's way too early to make predictions, but it's always fun to make these predictions before we go live, and then we can look back at it at the end of the season with egg in our face when none of these 5 players makes it to the finale and none of them win the show. I can't wait to talk to you guys this weekend with Drew and Chantal as we break down everything for the Challenge All-Stars 3 Episode 1, so have a look out for that on the channel. If this is the first time you've ever come across my content, please consider hitting subscribe, please consider liking. I do a lot of content for the Challenge, for Survivor, The Amazing Race. I will bring other content onto the channel in the near future. I do want to continue to expand this channel and bring more different variety of content to you. So let me know what you think of the shorter videos, and I will try to do more of this throughout the season as well if this is something that you guys enjoy. As always, catch you guys next time, and thank you so much.